Hello, everybody, and welcome to Pray and Prepare episode number 6. Is my audio good? Let's see. Looks like it's going well. All right. It's Friday. We made it. I made it streaming for a week straight, which I've never done before. I have no idea what this is going to be about. The only reason I'm doing this is because everybody said in my chat that I would give up before the week was over. So purposely going to stream and I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I guess I could talk a little bit about going on the kill stream to talk about Ben Thorpe, but I really don't want to give that guy any more attention whatsoever because he has no shame. He's a psychopath and he cares only about attention and getting a rise out of people. And he's willing to exploit his own family in order to do that. And even if he wasn't putting this on YouTube, if this was just happening privately, that whole dynamic is disturbing and gross. And I don't want to associate or have anything to do with that guy whatsoever. That's why I ignore him, because he's literally a crazy person. Like, this happened months ago, and then all of a sudden this girl with like 300,000 subscribers finds them on YouTube and does like this 3-hour stream about them, and now like they're like blowing up, I guess. And I guess I don't know how they got in touch with Killstream and Ethan Ralph and stuff, but then I saw that they were on there, and I saw Pine Sap going there, and I was like, I saw that they were just basically like yelling at each other, so I was like, I gotta go in there and just like make sure that the people watching know a little bit about the backstory about these insane people. And it's just it's sad. Like I feel really like sad for the daughter because she never had a chance, and I don't know, the whole story is just insane and really degenerate. Definitely pray for them, but I really don't think that there is going to be any good outcome in associating with them in any way, because they're disingenuous and all they care about is attention. They don't have any real sense of self-accountability, because like if you listen to the way that he was talking and debates, he just like has an excuse for everything. And it's never his fault. He never says, oh yeah, that's weird that I did that, something like that. Never will be a man just step up and take responsibility. Just like dances around it. And it's, I sincerely think that he should be in jail and that his daughter should have like some type of mental health, because it is just not a healthy dynamic. And we shouldn't even be talking about people's families dynamic. I don't even think that's something that should be put onto the public. That's weird in and of itself, to make your personal issues like that public. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, I was on Catholic Ranger. What's up? I was on the kill stream for a little bit. I called in just to let people know a little bit of the history of the insanity of the Thorpe family. But I really don't want to talk too much about them. I don't really know what to talk about. I was just watching this insane movie. I didn't finish it yet. I'm like, I think like maybe an hour into it, and I just realized that it was like 3 hours long. So I'll probably try to finish it tonight, but so far it makes no sense. I have no idea what the actual plot of the movie is. I'm going to spoil the first 30 minutes. I don't know what happens at the end of it. But it's called Bayo is Afraid, with Joaquin Phoenix, the dude that played the Joker. And so far in the movie, like all I know about it is that the director is the same guy who made Hereditary and what was the other movie? But I liked both of his movies. I thought Hereditary was really good. So, and then I saw an interview with him, and he said that this next movie that he made is basically the Jewish version of The Lord of the Rings. And I mean, I guess, but it doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, because the whole plot of the movie so far is that this guy lives in this world where everything is super chaotic, but it's chaotic to the point of absurdity. Like, people are walking around stabbing each other and choking each other. Anytime that he wants to leave his apartment, he has to run as fast as he can, whatever. So it's hard to understand. And he's also taking all this medication. So it's hard to understand if he's actually living in this reality, like if that's actually reality, or if that's him hallucinating, or just his perception of reality. You don't really understand what's going on. And then he gets hit by a car. Well, first he's supposed to go to meet his mother, right? And she lives somewhere else where he has to take an airplane to get there. So he has to go and catch the airplane. And he's taking first of all, he oversleeps because his neighbor keeps him up with loud music, right? And that was another thing where you didn't know if he was hallucinating or whatever. He keeps getting all these notes under his door, and it's his neighbor telling him to shut off his music, but he's not playing any music, so it makes no sense. And then the neighbor goes, "Oh, you're not going to stop playing it? Then I'm going to play my music," and starts blasting his music. And the guy can't sleep or whatever, like, so he falls asleep holding his ears, and then he wakes up with his alarm beeping, and he like overslept by like 2 hours, so now he's almost late for his plane and he's rushing. And then he goes out of his apartment, right, and he leaves his keys and his suitcase outside, and then he goes in to get floss or something. Then he comes out, and the suitcase and the keys are gone, right? This is all just events that are happening. I have no idea who these characters are, what's going on. All I know is that he's supposed to go and meet his mother because it's the anniversary of his father who died, who he never met because he died while he was conceiving his son. I have no idea what's going on. It's bizarre. And there's a lot of like satanic symbolism on all, like in the background and stuff. And there was one scene, like for a solid 10 seconds, they're like staying on a scene, and it literally says, what does it say? It says, "Hail," the opposite of God. I'm not even going to say it, right? "Hail S, shoot dope, F children, or kill children, F the Pope." That's what it said, right? For like 10 seconds, right? And so I'm thinking about what the director said, how it was Jewish Lord of the Rings. Now, I personally am not a fan of the Jewish... I'm personally not a fan of the Lord of the Rings. I'm not a fan of the Lord of the Rings, but I understand that it is a Catholic work, right? And I understand it's a Catholic work, and I understand its literary significance in the culture and stuff like that. And you could say that because of its Catholic influences, it has a certain type of beauty and structure, and there is an order and different character arcs and things like that, and proper motifs and stuff, and foreshadowing, and like a lot of story elements that a professional like writer, somebody with like a vision, using all of these different elements to create something beautiful that is known for like years to come and decades to be appreciated by millions of people. Now, he's claiming that this is the Jewish Lord of the Rings, and so far, I don't know how it ends or anything like that, but I can kind of see that because it's going through the same like concept of like, I need to reach this destination. I have this mission. I have to reach the burial of my funeral or whatever, as opposed to Frodo and the Ring or whatever the plot of that movie is. I don't even know. But instead of there like being characters that you care about and having this beautiful scenery in the world, everything is just chaos and disorder. It's like the film version of modern art, where like, you know how the modern art is like gay and like they'll just show a painting and it'll be a line and they'll be like, you have to find interpretation in this, and like it'll sell for $10 million, and everybody knows how ridiculous that is, right? This is like the movie equivalent of that so far, right? Like I said, I only watched, I think, about the first hour and 3 minutes of it so far, but that is like what's happening. It's just like he's throwing all of this insane nonsense, right? Like all of a sudden he's in the bath and he looks up and there's a man on his ceiling, and then they wrestle while the dude's naked, and then he comes outside and people are trying to convince a guy to commit suicide, and the very next scene is a close-up of his rotting corpse while people are just walking by him or whatever. So it's like, is it establishing this world and this lore like the Lord of the Rings is, but the world and lore, instead of having deep details and characters of races and different magical cultures, instead of that, the lore and the world building is that everybody is just insane degenerates? Like, is that what's happening? And that's supposed to be the Jewish Lord of the Rings? I don't know, but it kind of, that's what it seems like so far. Yeah, I know. Oh, and another movie that I watched recently, I didn't watch it. So they had this on the cruise that I went on the TV. So I ended up seeing like this movie in 40 different like clips to like really like understand, like to put the plot together of what was going on and stuff. I never really watched it full through of an extended period, but it was called Turning Red. And it's this, I think it's Disney, Pixar, one of those things. It's one of these like cartoon CGI movies. And it's about this 13-year-old girl who who suddenly has the ability, but it's not really an ability because she can't control it. She has this uncontrollable ability to turn into this giant red panda. And when she turns 13, and every time she like her emotions go crazy, she turns into this red panda, and she doesn't know what to do and how what's she going to do about her friends, what is people going to think about her at school and stuff like that, right? And then her mom tells her that like it's completely normal, like, and she goes through this whole history and stuff like that, but it's a metaphor for her period, right? And I'm like, it's like it couldn't be more obvious that is what they're going with, right? And like that's gross because it's for children, right? And I'm sure like little children aren't going to understand that that's like the metaphor they're going for, because like really young children don't understand that. But if you're an adult watching it, you realize how heavy-handed it is, and it's like super repugnant and like just weird that like, because so the panda represents like her becoming a woman and getting her period, and the point of the movie is like, I guess, to like embrace it, I guess, and not be embarrassed of your womanhood or something. But like it comes across so weird because her mother just wants her to do good in school and like be disciplined, and she doesn't want her to go to a boy band concert because she says it's degenerate. And then at the end, like the daughter is like, she's 13 and she's like twerking, right, as a panda. And so first of all, we have a bunch of blasphemous stuff going on already, right? Like transhumanism, this child sexualization in a cartoon, right? They start the movie up talking about how they don't believe in God, they worship their ancestors and stuff, right? So I'm already seeing all this like satanic stuff in this child's movie. But the fact that it was just so blatantly about that, but the way that the way that it came together at the end was that the little girl ended up right. Like it was okay that she like lied to her parents and was going to the concert that they told her not to, and all this stuff. And she no longer wanted to be embarrassed about her panda. She wanted to embrace it. It's like, this is for children. It's disgusting. I don't know. It's just I hate movies, and like I hate that. Because I used to be obsessed with movies. I used to love movies. I wanted to like be a director and a writer when I was a kid and stuff. Like I used to love movies, but like now I just realize when you start really liking movies and you watch a lot of movies, like this is how autistic I am. I've been keeping a list of every single movie that I've watched since 2014. I think I'm on my 10th year consecutively keeping track of every single movie. Let's see if I could pull it up. Here we go. See if I could. Oh, nope. Can't see it. Dang. I think this is one of the most autistic things I do. Dang, I can't get it to focus. But all right, so it's these are all the movies, right? Separated by year. Can you see it says movies watched, and then it just goes on for that, right? That's like probably the most autistic thing I do. I don't know why I do it. I don't know what I'm trying to accomplish or what I hope to do with the information that I have of all the movies that I've watched the last 10 years, but I can't stop. Like, oh, I do remember the source of this, actually. It was, so in 2013, I'm guessing, yeah, I guess that's when it had to be. So I guess I saw a post by a Redditor of them, how they kept track of all the movies they watched over the last 5 years. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to do that. And then I'll post it, but I'll wait 10 years or something like that, right? And then, like, I have no interest in ever doing that, and I don't, like, use Reddit anymore, and I hate Reddit, and, like, but I can't stop keeping track of it. Like, it's just, like, an autistic thing that I have to do. If I watch a movie and, like, I forget to put it in there, like, I kind of have, like a autistic spurg attack, you know, like I need to make sure that I got the dates right, and then I put my rating in there. Everything needs to be organized. It's very autistic. But what was I talking about? Oh, so yeah, the Turning Red movie was retarded. Oh, like, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, you know, good movies can actually be like an art form, and there's certain ways to do motifs and foreshadowing and all the cool stuff that you could like do in a really good way, right? But when it gets to a point where you're just throwing nonsense at the wall and you're just like, oh well, you have to decide what the meaning of it behind it is. It's like that's just it's so gay and lazy, you know. I hate that. And oh, there was another movie that I was watching that I forgot that I was going to say that it was also insane. But like you look at any of these movies where like the Titanic, right? The Titanic, which I'm having kind of mixed like emotions on the Titanic. I think the Titanic would be a dope movie if it wasn't for the gay love stuff, like the whole like that whole thing was absolutely ridiculous. But like the production was really nice, the acting was pretty good. But like that movie, you're supposed to think that the rich obnoxious snobs are like the bad guys or whatever, and which I kind of like because the peasants in that movie are Irish, my fellow Irish potato brothers, and they're getting kind of like abused and they're put with like all the dirt and stuff like that, like in the bottom of the boat and treated like garbage by like the high class Anglos and stuff. So it is kind of like anti-Anglo propaganda a little bit, which I'm on board with, but I don't think that was his intention. I do think James Cameron is Irish though, right? So maybe that was secretly his intention to, you know, subconsciously put into the people's minds how evil the Anglo race is, which then I would just have more respect for James Cameron. I don't know where that came from. The Titanic. So the Titanic is like, you're supposed to think that these obnoxious, like rich elite people are the bad guys and stuff like that, and like Jack and Rose are just like young lovers in love and blah blah blah. But if you look at like the actual circumstances of what's going on, it's like Jack is a total scumbag homewrecker. It's like if a homeless person like was trying to sleep with your wife or something like that and cucked you or whatever, right? Like this guy, just this young homeless guy wins a ticket on the boat, comes on, and like the girl that I'm supposed to be married is like flirting with him already. First of all, dude, you definitely need higher standards. But like, secondly, nobody ever puts the responsibility on Jack and Rose. Jack is just like a dirtbag, low life peasant, right? And he wants to, I mean, from his point of view, from Jack's point of view, but he's Irish. He should know better. He should have those Catholic morals. But he, from his perspective, I can kind of understand like, yo, I'm just going to get whatever I can get. If this rich girl wants to hook up with me, then I'm going to do it or whatever. Like, so I can't totally blame Jack, but he still is a homeless wrecker and it is immoral. And Rose is just a whore, an ungrateful whore. Like it comes from a so-called rich family, and now like her family is going bankrupt or something like that. So like her parents want her to marry into a good family so she can continue the lifestyle that they've been accustomed to. So they want what's best for her and the family. And the guy is a handsome enough guy. He's rich, right? He's taking her on vacation, and she's like, I want real love. I don't want this. Like a typical woman, just ungrateful for what you have in your life, right? Like she's a horrible human being. She really is, you know. And I guess you could say like the fiance guy or whatever. He was kind of a douchebag in some ways or whatever. But look at it from his point of view. Like it's like, oh, I'm paying for everything. Right? Like everybody's taking advantage of my wealth. I'm taking my wife and her family on vacation, right? On this magnificent boat that has never been put onto the ocean and stuff. And this is the girl I love and plan to marry. And all these people are coming, blah, blah, blah. And then you get on the boat and your little girlfriend is giving you a snobby attitude the whole time, right? And then she starts hooking up with a peasant Irish dude that lives in the bottom with the rats. Like, I would be pissed. Like, she's lucky he didn't strangle her to death, honestly, right? And you know what? Jack should have had better standards too, honestly, because Rose comes up to him or whatever, and she's like, I want you to teach me to spit like a man. What weirdo says that? That doesn't make any sense. I don't even know. The Titanic, good evening, Spexo, hello. The Titanic is also from Belfast. Is that from, oh yes, that's Ireland. I'm like the worst Irishman, I'm sorry. I mean, like, I'll defend Ireland over the Anglos, of course, but I don't know places in Ireland. Hold on. Ever since I've used Catena, it's pretty hard to be a Protestant based. Yes, everybody needs to download the Catena app, best Bible app. Yeah, did you? I heard that I was listening to a podcast, and they were talking about how I think Australia and China were trying to build the Titanic too. They were trying to make a complete actual replica of the Titanic and call it the Titanic 2 and let it sail, which I think is hilarious and weird. What else? Oh yeah, so the Titanic, and then yeah, so this girl then she ditches her family, right, to get to go and try to save Jack, right, the peasant boy, and then she basically we all know that like she killed Jack, right? Like she just like, oh no, I just let him drop or whatever. That's been discussed to ad nauseum, right? So she kills Jack, and then she basically abandons her family. And then on top of all of that, she keeps that a secret for like 85 years, and just like then she finds out about the painting and stuff like that. Then she decides she's going to tell this story, right? And the crew, who are the only ones that are like responsible for finding these lost memories and stuff like that probably spent millions of dollars in research and stuff like that to try to do this, right? I'm talking like in the movie universe, right? So now she's telling him the story, right? And she has the locket that she's been holding on to for 85 years that she never told anybody about. Mind you, she was married, she had kids, grandkids, all this stuff. Never told a soul about this, right? Just totally disconnected from her family. Psychopathic woman moment, okay? Weirdo. How can you just do that? How can you have a family and then just in a split second decide, okay, I'm just going to, I don't want to be with them anymore. I'm just going to go do something else, and just then maybe like I'll talk about it 85 years in the future when there's no consequences because I'm like a week away from death anyway. I hate Rose. She's one of the worst female characters, morally speaking, right? Oh, and then so she has this locket, which would have been something great to give for a museum or something like that, or to the researchers. Maybe that's the least you could do, right? They took you on this submarine or this big boat and stuff like that. They accommodated you and your daughter and all this stuff so you could tell your gay little story or whatever, right? That why does anybody care about, really? I mean, yeah, it's a tragedy, but is it that serious? Like it's not even, it wasn't even American. No, right? I mean, why is it so whatever? So lost my train of thought. But yeah, so anyway, then she doesn't even give them the locket. She throws it in the ocean. Like she is one of the most selfish people ever put to screen. The only person who outperforms Rose from the Titanic as like the worst female in cinema history would probably be Jenny from Forrest Gump. Okay, and Forrest Gump used to be in like my top 10 movies, right? I've watched it so many times. Fun fact, I didn't watch it until I was a sophomore in high school, and I was already like on drugs at that time, and like I was obsessed with Forrest Gump at that time. I thought it was the best thing ever when I first saw it, right? And I was in drama class for English, right? Like it was an English drama class, right? And our assignment was that we had to keep the class entertained for more than a minute straight. So you could either do a monologue from a movie, you could do a stand-up routine, you can do magic, whatever. You just have to do some type of entertainment thing. Your job was to consistently remain doing something to keep the attention of the audience for a minute. So most people did monologues, right? One white kid who like was autistic and had like a para actually did the N-word Chris Rock monologue, and it was the most amazing thing I ever seen in my life because he was just saying the hard R N-word in front of 30 kids and the teacher and getting away with it because it was art. Like he was like trolling the system because they couldn't really say anything. It was pretty cool. So my thing for that was I did the monologue for at the end of Forrest Gump, but I was like drunk and like not all there probably or whatever. So like, and like I was known as like the weirdo kid always coming to school drunk, right? So like I had to get up in the front of class and do a monologue from Forrest Gump. So I'm like drunk, like, and then I like put on the Forrest Gump voice and I'm like, you died on a Saturday morning and I had you placed here under our tree. Like, and just like people like, what is going on? So that was fun. But yeah, so Jenny from Forrest Gump though is the worst human being ever put onto film, ever, I think, because like first of all, we all know that she's a whore and she gets AIDS or the equivalent of AIDS, right, in the movie and stuff like that. And we could say how a degenerate life she has or whatever, and that she was a drug addict, blah, blah. But the common misconception is that, well, she redeemed herself at the end. You know, she realized, she said, you know, I was messed up for a long time, but I realized my mistakes and stuff like that. And it's like, no, 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 no. That doesn't cut it at all, because she basically abused a mentally retarded man for like 40, 30, what is it, 30 years? She basically gaslit and manipulated a mentally handicapped man and led him on a wild goose chase for 30 years, sexually confusing him and using him whenever she was at a rock bottom that she couldn't escape from. Meanwhile, she's going out there and just getting banged by a bunch of dudes, just being a total horrible person. And then she comes along, and you know what? People are like, yeah, but dude, she was raped by her dad. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Being raped by your dad is not cool, right? Like, I can't imagine what Grace is going through and stuff like that, so I completely get it. But, like, if you were raped by your dad, that's not an excuse to be, like, a horrible person for the rest of your life. You know, like, you can't continue using that excuse when you're spending the next 30 years, like, being horrific. Like, many people have bad childhoods that horrible things happen to. That sucks. And it's tragic. But you can't continuously use that. So I don't use that as an excuse for how Jenny, first of all, totally like just leads Forrest on, right? And then goes away and gets involved with the Black Panthers, and she's shooting heroin and doing all this stuff. She's singing naked, dancing and stuff like that singing on stage naked. She's doing all this horrible stuff. Then she comes to Forrest like every 1 year or whatever, and you know, recoups and stuff like that, leads him on, right? And you know, Forrest's like, why don't you love me, Jenny? Right? And she's like, she's like, you don't love me, Forrest. I'm not lovable or something like that or whatever. And he's like, I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is. And then she just like, she comes in and has sex with him, basically rape, because he has the mentality of like a 6-year-old boy. She's raping a guy, basically. So she rapes him, and then she she leaves, and like that's it, right? Then he doesn't see her for another 5 years, and then she comes back into his life when she sees that him on TV, and he comes back and they reunite with the kid, and then they get together or whatever because he wants to marry her, and she says that how she's sick and how she was messed up for a while, blah, 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 but he doesn't care. He loves her, and they get married, and then she dies, blah, blah, right? And everybody's like, oh, it's a redemption story. It's so nice because at least Forrest is happy and stuff like that. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? This girl abused this man for 30 years, right? And then suddenly, when she sees this guy on TV, knows that he's a millionaire and world famous from the Apple stuff and the bubblegum shrimp and all this stuff, and then decides to call and find out where he is now. And when he comes, she just drops on lap. Oh yeah, by the way, you have like a 7-year-old son that's going to be able to speak to dead people in a little while. I have AIDS, and we're going to get married so you can pay for my benefits and stuff, and then I'm going to die, and you're going to be stuck with the kid. Which, who even knows if the kid was his? Okay, they never really established that. Because his name is Forrest too. I would not be surprised if like the kid's name wasn't even Forrest. I would be like I think in typical woman fashion, I think Jenny saw Forrest on TV and thought about how she could use this for her own personal gain. I'm dying of AIDS. I have this bastard child that I don't know what to do with or whatever. I'm like, okay, I know what I can do. I can manipulate this retard again and just die comfortably at least. So she goes, hey, honey, you want to stop having to give mommy Narcan? Come over here. Your new name's Forrest. Here, you're about to meet your new daddy. It's happened before, I'm sure. So, yeah. I don't know. How long have I been streaming? Wow. So, yeah, I guess the moral of the story is don't trust women. Um, what else did I want to talk about? I want to talk about that conservatives really need to, as you could probably tell too. Like I have no planned format or understanding of what I'm doing. I'm just trying to stream for the sake of streaming. But yeah, we need to stop conservatives from posting constant degeneracy all the time. Like I don't want to call out anybody in specifically or whatever, but a lot of conservatives, even people that are highly respected, even like within AF, they do this thing sometimes where they repost some degenerate libtard post of like something sexually vulgar or explicit, and it just fills my timeline up with these degenerate pictures. And it's like basically like, oh, this liberal is posting this stuff to one, get affirmation or whatever, as well as to provoke a reaction, and you're just retweeting it with a caption saying, look how degenerate this is, but still continuing to give more traction, right? Now I understand trying to bring attention to something and trying to say like, oh, well, people need to know how degenerate the world is. It's like, all right, but censor it. Like, you don't need to scandalize people. Like, you don't need to just be like basically doing the equivalent of posting porn. Like that tranny who was at the White House flashing its boobs, whatever. Like, I seen that like 50 times on Twitter. I follow right-wing accounts expecting that I'm going to like at least have some type of non-degenerate timeline. Like I expect like Christian stuff and like, I don't know. I don't expect to be seeing like gay pride stuff or whatever. It's like, yeah, we know what's going on in the world. We don't need to continuously post it in our own circles. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I think it's very, very annoying. I wanted to get Pine Sap onto here because I wanted him to kind of like go over what happened to him on the stream. Aaron says, hey, Spec, so what are your thoughts on the Knights of Columbus? Would you consider joining? Yes, I do eventually actually want to join, but there are some scheduling conflicts. Also, I heard that the population of the Knights of Columbus is much older, like boomer tier, like in their 60s and stuff like that. But I heard great things about the Knights of Columbus. Both my grandparents were in the Knights of Columbus. I don't know. I want to definitely get more involved in stuff, but I am very busy in life, so I gotta, when I could rearrange some stuff, then maybe I'll look more into seriously getting involved with that, because I can't really have any type of commitment at the moment. Yeah, dude, that tranny, the White House was horrific. What else? Well, I don't want to really talk too much about this, but I'll say a little bit. I don't know the full story. I was watching a little bit on the Kill stream, but I don't know the full context of the story of what's going on. But apparently, Hunter Avallone is, I guess, separating from his wife. And I don't know the full context of the story, but apparently there's some scandalous rumors going around that the girl did some like degenerate stuff or whatever. And I'm not going to harp too much on this. I think that, you could state the obvious, like it's an abomination. It's unfortunate. It's degenerate. It's divorce is not real, obviously, and stuff like that. But the girl seems to have severely negatively influenced Hunter. So maybe the silver lining is that he realizes his mistakes and maybe starts being more of a man. But I don't know if that's really possible. But I think that the worst thing about it is the kids. I feel bad for the kids, So just pray for them, honestly, because it is sad when there's like children involved. And really, I hate the whole like putting family stuff on YouTube. Like, I don't know, like people gotta keep some stuff private. It's so weird to me that like I don't know why people just, like I'll tell stuff about like my own personal life and my history and stuff like that, but like I don't know, I wouldn't like post family drama publicly like that. It's for everybody to critique, and like that's so absolutely bizarre to me. I don't know, but Letterbox to track my movies. Oh yeah, I did try that, but by the time I got Letterbox, I had so many movies like already on my notes, and to go through like hundreds of movies like manually was kind of like hard to do. maybe if there's like a program where I could like input a list and it could like track it like that, that would be cool. But other than that, yeah, I don't think I can do that. But anyway, I think that's enough. I just streamed just because I wanted to like fulfill the thing I said I was gonna do, where I actually streamed for 5 days in a row. Am I gonna do it next week? Maybe. Probably not. But definitely maybe. If I do it, I won't. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'll sometimes. I don't know. But we'll see. But yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. God bless.